That's my bad. Well, sort of. Hello, everybody. Um, one of the settings to stream to all the channels got turned from on to all off, so nothing was online today. I was streaming there for a bit. Yeah, let's go back to it. Alright, cool. Alright. I think I did it. Give me a sec, I got some, alright. Where are you going? Are you doing anything? No? Alright. Hello, hello. Sorry about that. Where's it going? Batty Goth. Thank you, thank you. Right. There we go, I guess. Alright, yeah, my channel had some... I had to turn all the streaming stuff on. All the multi-channels, whatever, they all got turned off instead. So I was sitting here streaming to nothing for a while. Sorry about that. So we'll get back into this relatively quickly. Hello. We left off with Angie having kind of a breakdown from being tormented by her schoolmates rather, into writing a horrible letter about herself. She ordered the Seven Sisters to try and kill them. They told her they couldn't, and so she stopped believing in them and was systematically going through and erasing them, basically. And then she turned on Maria and Sakataro and Beatrice as well, which yes, they are. Congratulations, by the way. That's what I was trying to do the other day, but I couldn't get the thing to go. I couldn't log in and access some of the stuff. It was being weird. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's where we left off in Umineko, and then there was a break, and I think this is current Angie here. Before we get into that, just a little bit. Last stream, we were talking about microphones and all that stuff, and yesterday I was working really hard at like figuring some of this stuff out. I think my plan is I'm gonna go buy the stuff you recommended, Sekito. Thank you for the subscription. It's pretty cool. It's really cool actually. But I'm gonna buy that microphone set you got. I can't get the other piece as well. I might be able to get a bit of a deal with my gift card through my business, Radio Shack or something, which would be pretty cool. But the cool thing is, I'm gonna set up over there. Here, I'll take the camera. 1 sec. I've got this wall of art over here that I'm slowly amassing. It's not the biggest, but I'm working towards it. And I've got an open area over there that I've been trying to use for years now. But I'm going to repurpose that into a studio. like I've got here, but I'm planning on having it standing. And so I can have the camera and like table and stuff over there. And behind me, all the art stuff, as well as the dolls and things. Haven't quite figured out exactly what it's going to be, but hopefully it'll work out pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about this stupid little change. Still a lot more to go. I've got things to move out of here and reorganize, and some more equipment to get, like a bar stool type thing to sit on, because I'm not going to be just loosely standing there for a few hours every day. I might, but yeah. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm back on track, I guess. Yes, I'm gonna try and reorganize this stuff. Well, a bit more fun. The main reason I started thinking of standing is because I have no real desk to sit at. Right now, I've got a little wooden board here holding up all my stuff. It's not even tied down to anything. A wooden thing we made to shove in the corner, a sewing table, and another sewing table, or shelving. That's what I've got as desk space. So being unable to actually sit down properly made me think, well, why not just stand? And things kept going like that. Anywho, really should get going on this. I guess, anyway. And that was where we left off with Angie and company. Alright. No idea how much longer we got in this story, but it keeps on going. Okay. Anyway. I had planned on taking a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. There, I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Maxa had been doing some stretches on the deck. He must have a lot of time on his hands too. After all, it'll be several more hours before we reach Najima. It would only have taken a couple dozen minutes by airplane, but there was the chance that the Najima airport was under the Sumadera family's web. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor. No questions asked. I'd bumped into a cheery boat captain, plied him generously, and he had decided to help me out, amused. Still gonna be a while? I just asked the captain, and it sounds like it'll take a full 2 hours more. Well, beggars can't be choosers. The weather sure is nice. Feels like I'll burn. Going to read on the deck? It'll damage your book. Maxa apparently thought this because I was clutching Maria Onechan's diary under my arm. I had been reading it half asleep, which was why I'd come back up still clutching it. How's it going? Think you'll be able to find the truth of Rokkenjima from Maria-san's diary? Who knows? No matter how much I investigate what happened on that island, it won't make for anything more than a theory. There's no truth written in the message bottle or Onechan's diary, just a fairy tale with a witch walking around. I'm stuck. Looks like you've got nothing to look forward to except questioning those involved on Najima. I imagine the witch hunters have showered them with questions over and over. I'm pretty sure I won't find any new facts. So even though your hopes are that low, you're willing to spend a half-day trip on a boat to go to Najima anyway. Talk about fickle. It's like a journey of self-satisfaction, so that I can say I investigated. I'm not so naive as to seriously think that the truth of 12 years ago will be revealed. It just might. And when you're done with your self-satisfaction trip, what will you do next? Who knows? I haven't thought about it. I'll go to Najima, ask some people who were involved. Then, after going to Rokkenjima in the end and leaving some flowers, my journey will be over. Several days have already passed since this journey began. After being told by Burncastle on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I had left on a journey trying to grasp a cloud. At the time, I felt as though I had experienced something mystical, and had the feeling that I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But after several days passed, my excitement died down. On that day, when I stood on the roof of that skyscraper, my heart was completely cornered and dead. So, I'd wanted from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, and had crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The excitement from my jump lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. But I didn't even consider suspending this journey just because of that. If I stop this journey, it'll mean acknowledging that the message from the witch was an illusion, and I felt as though that meant throwing away the promise the witch made, and any chance that someone from my family might come back. So, because it was hard to believe that those events were an illusion, I've continued on my journey. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. It's even up to me when to end this journey. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my self-satisfaction. Oh, one other thing of note. I've downloaded Doki Doki Literature Club. It was actually a really small file for the game, all things considered. So I have that saved and downloaded and ready to go whenever we happen to enter the world of literature, whatever. So that's pretty cool. And also one note, I was looking through some of the Rhino Spike prompts or scripts that people have written, and I could totally do some of that stuff, so I will be engaging in some of that in due time. Might even do some later today when I get to it. I will. I'll try some. Might not be the best sound quality, but I'll give it a shot. Okie Dokie Literature Club. Woo. That probably means something, and I'm missing a hell of a lot, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, back to the world of witches. Self-satisfaction, huh? It sounds bad when you say it, but I think that's actually what life is all about. Oh? If that's the answer you've reached after hovering over the line between life and death in the mercenary business, that's probably pretty deep. Don't take it so lightly. What I'm trying to say is that the only one who could acknowledge you in this world is you yourself. Amaxa continued stretching as he spoke, in an irritatingly fresh way. Hearing it told to me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist, but what he was saying was extremely sensible. That may be true. People work hard when they want to be acknowledged by someone. In most cases, that someone is their parents. Children learn how to work hard because they want to be praised by their parents. Cool. We'll see. Although that's why I never learned. Sorry. That's not how I meant it. What I'm trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with self-satisfaction. No matter who praises you, it's meaningless unless you can accept it. Turning it around, even if no one praises you, that doesn't matter as long as you can accept it. Self-satisfaction tends to contradict the desire to improve oneself, though we're usually taught that it's bad. Somehow, your argument seems like a pretty fresh take on it, Amakusa. The anguish of the human world comes when you want someone to acknowledge you, but you don't know what it is you should be striving for. I had a time like that too. I wanted to be acknowledged by someone, but I didn't know what I wanted them to acknowledge about me. And since I didn't know what to strive for, or how far I should go to be acknowledged, I did a lot of crazy things. I can kind of relate somewhat. And the answer you reached was self-satisfaction? It sounds bad, but that's how it is. Rich is the one who is content with what they are, they say. If I'm satisfied with my life, it doesn't matter what other people say. It's the same for your life, and for this journey. No one has any right to criticize you, other than you yourself, Anji-san. You're the only one who determines the meaning and results of your journey. If it's been a meaningful journey for you, then that's more than enough. I always did take you for a flippant ladies' man, but you really do say weird things every once in a while. I'll bet you think saying stuff like that will make you popular. Of course not, of course not. That's not how I meant it at all. Looks like you want to be alone. I'll head over to see the boat, Captain. Please, take it easy. Amakusa apparently decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Or he might have finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to cool the rays of the sun. But yeah, we've all been foolish in some way or another like that. I seem to be doing a lot of crazy stuff, personally. Sewing, sculpting, modeling, doll making, voice work. Yeah. Not in order to get people to accept me, but on my own self-satisfaction. I guess? I don't know. We'll see. Makusa disappeared. Only I remained. Self-satisfaction is life itself. Huh? That's just boring. Life is nothing without greed. I noticed that Mammon had suddenly appeared, her abundant hair fluttering over by the prow of the ship. It's true that a life of greed would be fun, but unlike you, humans have a limited lifespan. If greed is eternal, that means a person will have desires even in the last moments before they die. Having desires means there's something that you want, something you don't have, some way you aren't complete. I'm sure it's enough to die when you can't think of your life as being a full one. So I'm sure self-satisfaction is necessary. I see. Because of the existence of a lifespan, you have to compromise like that. All of my masters had very long lifespans, so I've never thought of it. I wonder if humans live for the purpose of becoming satisfied. If so, it's probably easiest to live without desires. I see. That's why greed is one of the 7 deadly sins. Your praise honors me. Apparently, that counted as a compliment in Mammon's eyes. She turned and gave a graceful bow. Anji-sama, do humans live so that they can find satisfaction at the moment of their death? Wouldn't it be pretty tough if you felt you were lacking something when you died? If so, then humans live only so that they can meet a satisfying death. They live so that they can have a better death. They live so that they can die. This kid's saying something pretty incredible. I see, as expected from a demon steak. However, it might be the truth. Humans suffer because they aren't satisfied, and live only to find satisfaction. In other words, that might be the same as the desire to die satisfied. I can't counter that. People live in order to be satisfied, and they hope to die that way. So, it's really painful when you don't know how to find that satisfaction. Yeah. Just how could you find something like that in a human's life? By being acknowledged. By hearing someone say, "You are happy." If it doesn't matter who acknowledges them, then I'll do it. Yeah, that's the problem. People don't know who needs to acknowledge them. So, searching for this person who could acknowledge them is the journey of their life? It sounds strange. Whether you're acknowledged or not, it supposedly doesn't change your circumstances. And yet, if you are acknowledged, you will be satisfied. While if you aren't, then you won't. It's almost like the blue bird. Because you can't notice the blue bird even though it's already in the cage. You have to go out on a journey, searching everywhere. What the heck? Human lives sure are stupid. That's right. Amakusa said something really good. Rich is the one who is content with what they are. Was it? I don't know where the proverb came from, but it's deep. Basically, if you can't find enough satisfaction unless someone else acknowledges you, that's the same as not acknowledging yourself. The ultimate in self-fulfillment is acknowledging yourself. That's right. Because if you can know what you're fully satisfied, there's no need to be acknowledged by anyone. Just by taking notice of the small things, the human's foolish journey of life can be ended easily. You can spend the rest of your life playing and having a good time. A human's life is so ridiculous. Mammon's choice of words was bad, but it was surely the truth. In most of humans' life is a journey with the hopes that someone will acknowledge them, so that they can achieve a satisfied death. Then, when they realize that the person doing the acknowledging isn't someone else, but they themselves, that pointless journey can end. Humans who have ended that journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How noble, how praiseworthy would that be? You know, it seems Amakusa is on pretty bad terms with his parents. That makes sense. Any decent parents would want him to get the hell out of the trade he's in. Does that really matter, though? As long as it's fun for the person in question. Exactly. That's what it comes down to in the end. Criticism formed by the observations of other people doesn't matter. If your existence is firmly acknowledged by you yourself, that's enough. If you can live with confidence in yourself, you'll surely be able to accept and be satisfied with any kind of lifestyle. I'm sure Amakusa will eventually eat a stray bullet on the battlefield and get seriously injured. He might even die. But I don't think he'd view that as something unfair. I'm sure he'd cackle about how that's also part of life. What a great way to live. I could fall for the guy. Pitiful humans who can't acknowledge themselves. Wander about searching for that their whole lives. And without anything being accepted, they do nothing but grumble and die while still unsatisfied. How pitiful. Compared to the people whose lives drag on without any purpose, Amakusa is more likely to eventually die by the roadside. But I think he's much more noble for living his life with his head held high. Aren't the winners in life those who achieve enlightenment? If they can do that even a little sooner, they'll be able to live that much more of their life effectively. With Mammon's words, I finally accepted a certain fact. In the past, I've called that girl unusual, a little strange. However, that wasn't true. All she did was keep her head held high, and finish that journey faster than anyone else's. Maybe that's what made Maria One-chan so amazing. When she was at the age where she might or might not enter the first year of elementary school, she had already reached that point. For people like us, looking at her life from the outside, it wasn't something we'd call blessed. Even though days like that were engraved in her diary, they always finished up by saying that it was a happy day. Even though the part of her mother that didn't love her daughter came and went, she believed that her mother loved her. The mother's love that didn't exist, she created herself, filling her world with love. Others might observe her as an unsatisfied, pitiful girl, but she herself acknowledged that she was satisfied, and so, she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that as something pitiable and sad, but to her, that was an outsider's opinion, so it didn't matter. Whether or not it was happy for her was the only important thing. It's just like how, when people who live in the city point to the lifestyles of those in rural areas, and mourn their inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it's really none of their business. If those who live there are satisfied with what they have, that's more than enough. I've finally noticed something. I noticed it just now. I did something horrible to Maria One-chan, and to you all, and Sakataro as well, on that day. Whether magic exists or not, that's not up to other people to decide. It's up to you yourself. Whether magic exists to Maria One-chan is a problem for Maria One-chan to decide, not me. And yet, when I was young, on that day, I said it. By saying there is no way magic exists, I hurt her. The fact that magic doesn't exist in my eyes matters in my world, but denying it even in One-chan's world for that reason was totally misguided. Marriage sorcery is the witches' alliance Maria One-chan had created. I was invited into it, and told to become a witch with them. Thinking it a new, interesting game, I went along with that for a while. But, because of the cruelty of youth, I got tired of it halfway through, and I tore her pure heart apart with sharp words. At that time, we must have gotten into a huge fight. I forgot about it right away, but she couldn't forget about it. After all, to her, magic was a natural power that really existed, and she believed that she'd be able to share it with me. To Maria One-chan, magic is a power that can interpret the world as blessed. No, which can truly make everything blessed. She just wanted to share that with me too. The young me tore that feeling apart. So she closed herself up in a shell, assuming that she wouldn't be able to share her magic with anyone. If that's true, then Lady Maria's journey through life wasn't over after all. If she'd been able to accept herself, then there'd be no need to collapse just because you denied her, Angie-sama. One-chan was young. She still hadn't reached a philosophical viewpoint like Amakusa. Yeah, now I understand. That's why the Witches' Alliance called marriage sorcery was necessary. An alliance where each acknowledges that the other is a witch. That's right. I'm pretty sure that was the first article in the agreement of marriage sorcery. Witches of the Alliance would acknowledge each other and respect each other. That's the deepest and only meaning of the Witches' Alliance. Mario and Achan wanted to share with me the secret laws to make the world happy, called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty. On that day, I said cruel things to you all and Sakataro. I said there was no way you exist. How rude. We acknowledge that we exist ourselves. We're not like humans, with their souls half asleep. I think, therefore I am. Whether you acknowledge or deny magic, the existence of a magic called the Seven States of Purgatory is a fact. As long as we acknowledge it ourselves, to borrow your words. It truly would be violence for another person like me to deny it. I'm sure that it'd be like having your true mother yell, "I wish you had never been born." No, disappear. Even after being slammed by all those words, Maria Onechan's magic made her believe in her mother's love. Sakataro, her magic friend, always encouraged her. He kept saying that her mother loved her, that she was coming home late because of her work, and that she would definitely bring back a present. Even after Maria learned that her mother's work wasn't really the cause, magic allowed her to continue believing. And by believing that her mother loved her, by acknowledging herself, she filled her world with love and peace and serenity, establishing it completely. What happened 12 years ago? What happened to my family? That was never a journey to search for that. Then what kind of journey is this? It was a journey to apologize to Maria Onechan for what happened that day. I don't know why, but that's what I think. If I hadn't hurt her, the incident 12 years ago might not have occurred. That's what I think. I have no basis for it. I don't have a clue how hurting Onechan could be connected with that mysterious incident several years later. But, for some reason, I can't imagine that there's no connection. A witch caused that incident, and the culprit is the Golden Witch, Beatrice. And Beatrice is part of the Marriage Sorcery Alliance of Witches. I horribly hurt the other witch of that alliance. I hurt her with the thought that magic doesn't exist. Yeah, I can get that marriage sorcery. But witches, huh? Married witches. Interesting. So, several years later, a crime caused by a witch occurred, and a 2-day period that couldn't be explained with anything but magic was thrust in my face, thanks to the message bottle. There's no way I wasn't involved somehow. I don't get it. It couldn't be coincidence, or it could be fate. For some reason, I started thinking like that on this journey. And what's your basis for it? I have none. I just think it's true. The Japanese sure are interesting. Even when they're the victim, they feel as though they did something wrong and apologize for no reason. I could understand if you said, "I hate Beatrice for stealing my family," or something. But you really are weird, feeling guilty for no reason and apologizing. Of course I hate Beatrice. I couldn't continue this journey without that feeling. But it's okay to choose yet another purpose for this journey. There's nothing wrong with adding on a goal of apologizing for past sins, in addition to getting revenge on a witch for what happened 12 years ago. I can at least go to Rokkenjima, apologize for my reckless remarks, and offer flowers. No. There's something better than flowers. And I think that would be more fitting for One-chan. I stood up, not minding that the sea breeze scattered my hair, and concentrated my mind. I lifted my palm up to the height of my head, and imagined a vast space. Enji-sama? Be quiet. Come, arise. I am the witch apprentice, Angie Beatrice. I was excommunicated, but I was once a member of the same alliance, and you were the dearly missed furniture who played with me. Answer to my call. It was hard to tell in the middle of the day, but a faint blue light gathered around the palm of my hand. Then, Sakutaro's form was revived. It truly did bring back memories, that figure. His cute ears, his bright red muffler. It came off easily, though One-chan faithfully rewrapped it all the time, didn't she? Sakutaro, do you recognize us? Do you know who we are? Who are you? Who are you? Mama? Angie? With a sleepy face, as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around him as he spoke. It's been a long time, Sakutaro. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've summoned you with my own power. And now, I'm the only one who can summon you. Who are you? Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over. In the past, I denied you. Now that I've summoned you, it means I've accepted your existence. Are you sure? Is it really alright for me to be summoned into Angie's world? His eyes were a bit frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with a magic-resisting toxin. It was only natural that he was scared. I apologize for that day. To you, too, Mammon, and to the rest of you. At some point, the rest of the Seven Sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they're always there, always by my side. As long as I acknowledge that it's okay for them to be there, they'll always appear. You certainly do exist, Lucifer, and Leviathan, and Satan, and Belphegor, and Mammon, and Beelzebub, and Asmodeus, and Sakutaro too. Are you sure? You're one challenging Beatrice-sama, Angie-sama. Is it okay for one in a position of denying witches to acknowledge this? As to whether magic exists or not in my world, sorry, but let me put that on hold. It's not like I myself acknowledge the existence of magic. But then, doesn't that contradict the fact that you're acknowledging us? It's because magic exists for people who believe, even if I don't. If someone believes, then magic will exist in the human world. That fact won't change in the slightest whether I believe in magic or not. No, it mustn't change. That person just had to hold their head up high and believe in their own magic. I acknowledge that. So, it wouldn't be strange at all for all of you to exist. Quite a play on words, but it's an interesting interpretation. What you're saying, Angie-sama, is probably a devil's proof. A devil's proof? Right? To prove the existence of demons, you just need to find one. But it's impossible to deny the existence of demons. And we're here. That means that whether Angie-sama believes in magic or not, our existence is unshakable. You? The magic-resisting toxin is disappearing from Angie. You're right. Even though you're in a position of denying magic. Why? That's probably because I learned what it means to respect and acknowledge. Right now, I might be able to understand the depths of Mirio-ne-chan's and Beatrice's magic. In the past, I didn't believe in things like magic. Thinking something like that could exist, I acted like I was closing my eyes tightly and couldn't see anything. Now, I'm different. I get the feeling I look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature. How frustrating. It's truly rare to find a human so free of the magic-resisting toxin in this day and age. And she has such an uncommon genius for being a witch. That's right. If Angie-sama tried to become a witch right now, she could grow to be a great witch, maybe even at Beatrice-sama's level. Even so, she has acknowledged our existence and is our master. Most likely, Angie-sama will be our final master. Let us think of this as our final service, and apply ourselves to the fullest. Blah. But I just can't stand that Angie-sama still doesn't believe in magic herself. Angie-sama, please believe in magic too. It feels like a waste to finally have a master and have it not be a witch. Even though you have outstanding talent that can make you one of the greatest of witches, your goal is to attack witches. It's so frustrating. Well, even so, that's your life, the way you live. And in the world where you've decided that, there's nothing we can do to complain. Thanks for understanding me. Yeah. Whether magic exists to me or not, that's up to me to decide. Regardless of whether magic actually does exist somewhere in the world or not. When I think about it, this world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on the earth. But I probably won't meet even 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of a world. My world, which doesn't know even 1% of the world. I'm not qualified to deny the laws of a world I don't know. So, just because magic doesn't exist in my world, I can't deny that magic exists in a world I don't know. That makes it a true devil's proof. No, maybe it's more like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I can be confident in the world I know. But even if that's denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about my world, that's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world that I don't know. Oh, sorry. Well, Zia, thanks for stopping by at the very least. And thank you again for the microphone recommendation. I'm gonna get it soon, when I can. Anyway, have a good one, man. And good luck yourself. Alright, I'll check that out in just a minute. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world I don't know, just because I don't know about it. Therefore, regardless of whether there's magic in my world or not, I can't deny the magic Mirio-ne-chan taught me. Oh, after all, even if you've never seen it, magic exists. Yes, that's why, as I've already said, you friends of the Witches' Alliance, Merited Sorcery, can't be denied by me or anyone else. I proclaim that most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, it was a time of silence. Both Sakataro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words. And, probably I did too. Does magic exist? Do witches exist? While ignoring what the answer would be for my own world, I acknowledge their existence. That contradiction was what I proclaimed so boldly. Thank you, Angie. If you'll acknowledge that much, can't you acknowledge witches too? No, that was a foolish question. You already have a clear answer to it. Alright. Though, I do acknowledge that witches might exist somewhere in this world. But that doesn't shake my world. You won't acknowledge witches or magic. You'll definitely expose the truth of Rokkenjima. Right? Yes. That's my world. Even if a real witch exists, I won't acknowledge it in my world, no matter how much that witch tries to convince me. Your position is to attack witches, Angie-sama. And I understand well that you haven't the slightest wavering in that feeling. We are your furniture, the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. We will always be by your side. We'll always be waiting for the day that we can be useful. Although, since you don't believe in magic, we can never be anything more than people to talk to. That's enough for now. We've been left room to exist. For that alone, we should thank and acknowledge Angie-sama. In short, all of us are all together again. Oh, you! Sakataro! Let me squeeze you! I can't do high pitch. When Sakataro was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the 7 sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long-missed reunion. If their existence is permitted, they're definitely capable of existing here. No, even if I don't permit it, they can exist. Because I acknowledge them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. Right. Yes, you are. Pronunciation. I am open to critique. I know it's supposed to be different. It's got accents, but I don't know exactly how. Feel free to correct me. Feel free to nitpick. Go ahead. As I watched over that scene, I reflected over what this journey of mine meant. Mariage. Okay. Mariage. Okay. I wonder if everyone will forgive me this way. You've done enough. We are furniture. Just being summoned, just being allowed to be by your side, makes us happy. Angie, thank you very much. Come to think of it, why was I able to summon Sakataro? No, it's the other way around. Why wasn't One-chan able to summon Sakataro? Maria One-chan had despaired, thinking that Sakataro had died, which meant she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, One-chan said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Sakataro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. No, when you put it like that, it's even a little doubtful whether summoned things can be limited by life and death. Moreover, Sakataro should have been an especially important friend to Maria One-chan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him one more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart, but why didn't he die and become impossible to summon again? And Sorcière. Maria Sorcière. Okay. That's because, at that time, Maria saw my stuffed animal torn, and decided that I died. It's the same as the existence of magic. If Sakataro has died in Lady Maria's world, then he can't exist in her world. That's cool. Yeah, I'm always open to critique. Always. Never feel embarrassed or worried about telling me I suck somehow. Just go ahead and say it. I'll be fine. I can take it. I'm pretty good myself. But yeah, if I'm saying something wrong, feel free to correct me. And I'll do my best to say it right. Maria's Sorcia. Okay. It's the same as the existence of magic. If Sakutaro has died in Lady Maria's world, then he can't exist in her world. Well, that's fine. It's in my nature to tell you, don't worry about it. It'll be okay. You. The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria Onei-chan's eyes, Sakutaro died. So even if Sakutaro can exist like this to me, he cannot exist before her. I was always with Maria. When Maria cried, I was always right beside her, telling her not to cry. But my form, my voice, nothing of me will reach Maria now. Sakutaro hung his head, looking sad. After that incident, the nature of Maria Sorcia rapidly began to change. A little off, but close. Before then, the alliance was a peaceful thing. But after that incident, it grew full of shadier things, focusing on how the cursed people you hate. Onei-chan's diary began to show a clear change. It would be weird if it didn't. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed the personality called Maria die, and be reborn as the evil witch personality, Maria. When she buried that diary in hatred and sadness, her heart surely wasn't satisfied. Because it wasn't satisfied, she had to bury it with hatred and sadness. And while still unsatisfied, she met with death. I wonder if her unsatisfied soul has a hole opened in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, dripping tears down and calling Sakutaro's name. Maybe, I don't know. Onei-chan needs you. Oh, you. What can I do to revive you in Maria Onei-chan's world? If I can learn that method, I'll be able to save Onei-chan. That's the method of atonement I've been given. What can be done to revive Sakutaro? To Maria, my vessel had a very important meaning. The vessel. In other words, if we could revive the lion stuffed animal. But Mama Rosa made my stuffed animal herself, so only she could make it. Even inside the diary, Maria Onei-chan had asked this of Beatrice, and was refused for that reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then, if we could make the same thing once more, but Aunt Rosa is already gone from this world, we can't make the same thing again. Was there ever another identical stuffed animal made, or anything like that? He's a stuffed animal made to be Lady Maria's birthday present, and is the only one of his kind in the world. A handmade and unique vessel. That's why it conceals a great magical power. And, if lost, it cannot be obtained again. It won't revive. You. Because she knew that, Maria Onei-chan watched that stuffed animal, which was unique in that world, get torn apart, and despaired. Because it was the only one of its kind in the world, and she couldn't permit a compromise such as buying another one. She had despair from the bottom of her heart. But Sakutaro is right here. Even without a vessel, he's here. Because I acknowledge that, he certainly exists in my world. Even if Maria Onechan does acknowledge him, that cannot be denied, right? Logically, that's true, but I think using the same logic to make Lady Maria accept him could be difficult. Maria, I'm not dead. I'm right here. Oh, you. I'm sure that on Rokkenjima, I'll be able to be reunited with Maria Onechan. And, no matter what, I'll revive the you that's inside of Onechan and let you be reunited. Can you do it? It'll probably be hard. Just like how, after being invited in the Witches' Alliance, I rejected it without understanding what it meant. She might also reject your existence. But I've got to do it. That's the only way I can atone for my sins. Anji-sama. What's waiting on Rokkenjima? And what will happen? What will be created? Or maybe, nothing will happen. That island, which was the beginning of everything, is the final destination of this journey. You all are the furniture of a witch, so as your master, I have to take you home, to the Witch's Island, to Rokkenjima. Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang down. The spray that hit my cheek might not all have come from crashing waves. Anji-san, looks like we're gonna get a bit of a shower. Maybe you better go below deck. Amakusa called out to me with an expression that said, "Oh, you're still here?" When I looked up, I saw that the island silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remembered that the weather report had mentioned scattered rains. The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time, even though the rain was light enough not to be a pain. Having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. I'm approaching the Rokkenjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. He was carrying what looked like a really large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had brought back with him on a day when we'd split up. I didn't inquire as to its contents, but it was hard to imagine that they were anything peaceful. Yeah. I won't go so far as to ask what's inside, but it looks heavy. Why are these things so darn heavy all the time? A French instructor taught me something interesting about that once. He said they should always be heavy. After all, a human life is heavier than the world. So these should be even heavier. It'd be nice if you didn't need to use them. That would be nice. Amakusa set the golf bag like luggage down beside him, saying what it is without saying what it is. Oh, one other thing. Reminded. As I set up that art wall I've got over there, one of the things I thought would be fun would be putting up artwork you guys want me to have. Like a spot or two for you guys to have something you want over in my world or something. I thought that might be a cool thing to have. It's still being built and I have nothing to put there. What you guys saw on the wall, that's all I got. Other than these ones back here. So I figure that might be a cool thing to do. You guys pick out something that I can have printed or made. Sure, absolutely. I'll take anything you guys got. As long as it's something I can show to the rest of the world. But yeah, absolutely. Handmade, made by a friend, something you bought and shipped, I'll take it, whatever. As long as I can, like, put it up and fit it on my wall or something of that nature. Sure, yeah, if you want. If you find a good version of your portrait, let me know. Let me see it, and I'll put it up there. But yeah, like I said in Discord, this channel is as much your guys' as it is mine, and so is part of my life. Back to the story. A 2-propeller aircraft touched down on the runway. Looks a little bigger than 2. Considering the weather, it couldn't have been a pleasant flight. Everything after this flight had been suspended due to weather. Excuse me. Cutting through the drizzle as she traversed the runway, Sumadera Kasumi entered the lobby with 2 black suits as guards. The 4 black suits who had been waiting inside the lobby stood up and respectfully lowered their heads in salute. Oh, sure, absolutely. I am okay with doing much anything. You guys have a suggestion? Something you want to try? Yeah, sure, I'm up for it. Go ahead. Let me know. The only thing really holding me back is I don't know what it is that you guys want, so let me know. Tell me. Suggest ideas, and I'll do what I can. But yeah. When I order the mic and whatnot and get all that stuff here, I'll do an unboxing session for that. Same with art or anything significant in here. Or even insignificant if you want me to. Oh, I got this, and I'll show you guys at the end of the stream. Kasumi-sama. Propeller planes certainly do shake. I've actually been on a propeller plane. They're kind of neat. A bit loud though. So are jets, so I wouldn't want to ride one again. We have a car prepared. Please, this way. They got into 2 luxury cars that had been rented. Angie should be heading for Rokkenjima, a deserted island. How convenient. You've arranged for some tools, I take it? Yes, ma'am. The black suit in the passenger seat put a heavy bag that had been set by his feet onto his lap, opened the catch with a click, and showed Kasumi what was inside. Inside were several silver lumps of carefully wrapped aluminum foil. He peeled one open to show her. A black, blunt automatic pistol peeked its face out. And in somewhat related terms, we had New Year's just a while ago, and my brother came over. He's starting to get some guns, a rifle and a pistol. He's all legal, all that stuff. And he's interested in shooting nowadays. And so one of the Christmas gifts we got him, the first day, October 4th, 1986, were these bottles of explosive powder. You shoot it with a gun and it explodes. They're pretty cool. And we did that for New Year's. We set it up on the snow over by a rock. Pretty cool. Very loud. But it's interesting. What's really weird is you hear a bang boom. One explosion from the gun, and then one explosion from the powder. It's unique. Right. Back to the story. It was already approaching 10 at night. By now, the typhoon had wrapped itself around Rokkenjima. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful midday was beaten down upon by the fierce winds and resisted with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flowers from blowing away. In that rose garden was Shannon in the lead, Battler holding up an umbrella, Jessica and George carrying the sleeping Maria on his back, all heading for the guest house. Is this the start of episode 4? I can't remember too many times. You guys have died too much. I can't remember what time this is. We can at least make it to the guest house from here. Shannon-chan, it's fine. You should go back and rest. Don't worry. Seeing you off is also part of my duty. The family conference is going on inside, and Mom and Genji-san are probably getting stressed. If we keep you, they'll misunderstand and think you were being lazy. That's right. Just graciously accepting our offer might be the best way to avoid burdening people. Thank you, Shannon. Not at all. Certainly, as Milady had said, it is very tense inside the mansion today. Therefore, coming with all of you allowed me a breath of fresh air, and I've been able to relax a bit. The family conference, huh? They went to all the trouble of chasing us kids out, so they're probably talking about something shady. Probably. I'm sure there's nothing we can do to help out. Just trying to stay out of their way is probably the best way for us to be useful. I'm sure it's all just money, money, money. Even though they act like they're so rich most of the time, when it gets tough, they all start getting pushy. Why don't they just be grateful and split it evenly between everyone? That would be a logical choice. That'd be awesome. It'd be nice if I got a share too. If I got some too, I'd split it with Shannon-chan right away. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Shannon isn't greedy at all. Normally, girls of your age would have tons of things they'd want to buy. I guess. But none of the things I want can be bought with money. Ooh, how unselfish. If you lined up all the things I wanted, all the gold in the world wouldn't be enough. That's if you're talking about things that can be bought with money. I wonder what these things that can't be bought with money that Shannon wants are. Do you have any idea, George Nissan? Well, I wonder. I'm not Shannon, so how could I know? I don't know either. George and Shannon look down, their faces red. Do I have a favorite animal? Not particularly. I like animals in general, to be honest. Let me think on it for a bit. I'll get back to you on that one. George and Shannon looked down, their faces red. Butler had also heard about what was going on with them, so he knew what Jessica was teasing them about. George Aniki is a person I respect. I think you've met up with a really great person, Shannon-chan. Yeah. I also feel relieved that we can leave Shannon to George Nissan. Stop teasing. It's a serious issue for us. More importantly, what about you, Jessica-chan? Have you been able to get a little closer to Cannon-kun? I'm going to be thinking about this for a while now. What? So you and Cannon-kun are like that? Well, that's sturdy, George. Twisting the conversation around like that's sturdy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one. I know my sister really enjoys elephants and bunnies. She thinks they're cute. So, there's that. I'm gonna get back to you on that one. Because I know of a few oddball ones too that are pretty interesting, but I can't quite pick one. I'll get back to you. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the four kids headed for the guest house. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Ushiramiya family, and this year seemed like it was going to be especially important. Apparently, the family head Kinzo was personally going to be making a very serious announcement, and everyone other than the adults had been strictly ordered to leave. Well, there's, I can't remember the name, but I think it's, a Fennec Fox, F-E-N-N-E-C fox. That's a little, odd little desert fox with big old ears. One like that. There's oh, there's the platypus. I find that one quite interesting. A couple others. I can't remember the names of them though. Like I said, I'll have to get back to you. It's oddball stuff. And then there's like reptiles, snakes, and the like. Alright, cool. Oh, but a favorite one, huh? Anteater. Everyone loves anteaters. They're pretty interesting. A bit too weird for me. They don't actually. They can only eat through their tongue. It's weird. If you've ever seen something, they have an anteater bowl. Zookeepers and the like have an actual bowl to feed anteaters with, and it's got an inlaid spiral for them to work their way through. Cool bugs too, shiny ones, yeah. My dad and my brother were interested in bugs. My dad used to collect them, so they know a lot about them. He had a pet tarantula and a pet bunch of stuff. Pretty cool. I'm not. I'm just less partial to bugs. They're okay, they're cool and neat, but I don't have any particular attachment to them, type of thing. Alright, but yeah, it's I'll get back to you with a couple more. There's also like coyotes. They're kind of they're kind of vermin in a lot of areas, pests that attack things. But I've always kind of liked that look. We even have a pelt of it back in the building over there. Well, Beto always did want to go to a zoo and see the animals held there in cages. Anteaters would definitely be ones there, so potentially, you never know. Anyway, ah, lag spike on my end. Ah, what's going on? What's going on? All right, stabilize. I hate that. I cannot wait until I have a stable internet. And it's waking out again. Dang it. Alright, well, we'll just keep going and see where we get to. I hate that stupid bar. Battler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so he didn't really notice. But according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight, completely different from a normal year. And it's down. Alright, glitter, huh? Um, Depends on how it's used. Glitter, 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 no. But like, selective glitter in a piece of art, sure, yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, Personally, I see glitter as more of an accent than a main color type of thing. So yeah, it's I can see things in that way. All right, hey, cool. There we go. Internet is back. It's at least more stable than it was. Okay, we can continue now. Sorry. That'll be such a good day having good internet. That's one thing I'm missing out on here. Anyway, enough complaining. Common sense made it clear that Kinzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the headship and the distribution of his fortune. But I'm surprised. Oh, ZBrush, welcome! Welcome back. Indeed, long time no surprise. I haven't seen you in a year, man. Yes, welcome, welcome. things have gotten a bit different since I've seen it. I've been doing alright. I've been reading Umineko for quite some time now. Yeah, and I'm actually going to be going into the voiceover industry soon. Yeah, I gotta toss that joke out somewhere at some point. I think I missed it during New Year's. Yeah, I took a break. I got sick, and it was getting hard to read, so I took a break, and then now I'm coming back. Alright, nice to see you again. Really cool. Give me one sec. There we are. Cool. How have you guys been? I always forget to ask that part. Sorry, but apparently it's the year of the plague or something. I think it's like year of the rat. People were talking about a plague on the internet a while back. Well, I was sick around Christmas or so. It happens. I got through it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't fun. But yeah, cool. I don't know, it's just sickness. Anyway, it's nice of you to be here, but I do also have a story to keep going to, so sit back, enjoy, keep chatting, do whatever. Feel free. And we're also talking about art and stuff too, so go ahead and knock yourself out. Water faucet, huh? Well, my water faucet is from the ground. I have a well that's coming from the mountainside and rainwater and all that stuff. So, neener, government. Don't tell them I said that. Yeah, just keep that on the down low. Anyway, back to the story. Alright, cool. Crustaceans, huh? They can be pretty interesting. Apparently, lobsters are immortal. Lobsters are endless. So yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I'm going to continue. And this chairman. But I'm surprised to think that grandfather is actually going to make an appearance. I see. So this is the witch's counterattack. I wanted to leave the Joker called Kinzo face down a little longer, but it's probably about time to turn it over. Trump cards exist to be used. Oh yeah, that was right. The Blue Truth, or whatever he called it. He disproved her theory by saying Kinzo was already dead from the start, so therefore the 18th person was an extra, and Kinzo wasn't included. Damn. My theory that grandfather was dead since the beginning and a different 18th person has snuck in is now suddenly torn apart. I had foreseen that you'd begin to doubt Kinzo eventually. Yes. Now your reasoning has all gone back to square one again, right? Was this your theory that Kinzo was dead at the very beginning and I was hiding as the 18th person goes poof? Fuck. But no way I'll lose heart. That's only one theory gone. I'll attack you like a storm, like a tornado. I'd have it no other way. Even the first twilight has not yet begun. It's far too early to give up. That's right. And it's not like it was denied with the red truth. At this point in time, Battler's theory hasn't been defeated. It's too early to say that you've won. Yeah, that's right. It's still too early for me to just swallow her story. Grandfather's supposed to finally appear. But there's a chance that they'll talk about how his health has gotten worse and he won't appear after all. Uncle Kraus might be trying desperately to hide the fact that Grandfather really is dead until the last second. Right, they were at a conference and they were bugging him to make him appear. Right, okay. Too many of these to come through to keep it all straight. Huh. I see. You could also think of it that way. Do as you please. It will be resolved soon. Very soon. The best kind of claws, though, are Fritos. You just get those little Frito chip hats and put as many on your fingers as you can. They're edible too, so attack and sustenance. Very effective. Yeah. All of the relatives in Naja could be seen in the dining hall. Pincers? Well, then that's not quite so fun. Those are oven mitts. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Kraus sat down in the seat of his own rank, with Natsui standing motionlessly at his side. The other siblings were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other. Is that true? Yes. Marie said the person who gave her the umbrella was father. What in the world? In other words, our strategy has collapsed from the roots. Not just our strategy. Since father is healthy and has said that he'll make an announcement himself, our trivial bargaining with Nissan was completely pointless. Yep. That old bastard. Why couldn't he have just shown himself right away without making a show of it? Thanks to that, we've just been quarreling with Aniki uselessly. Or maybe he wanted to test us on that point. I might not be one to talk, since we aren't related by blood, but your father is very intelligent, correct? Our arguments during the day were probably overheard by one of the servants and reported to father. Incredible. The fact that we were making a fuss with father's inheritance as our goal is now right in the open. It's just incredible. Eva uncharacteristically held her head dejected. If, as Kiria had said, everything had been going according to Kinzo's plan from the beginning, and if this was a huge setup that had been kept up for over a year, trying to find the siblings' true intentions, then they had fallen for it completely. Gibberish, huh? Well, here, what you need to say is Nihongo o wakarimasu. That means, I know Japanese. Just, there you go. It's fun to do stuff like that. When I start sounding out other languages, for some reason I always end up with a French effect to it. It's not French or whatever, but it starts veering off that way. Alright, well, cool. Well, maybe you should get a dictionary or learn Japanese. Yeah, I know a bit of Japanese. Basically a first grader's level. So yeah, I'm working on German right now too, so... Well, sort of. But yeah. Let's teach yourself Japanese and learn all that stuff. It's actually a pretty easy spoken language. It's complicated as a written and read language. But yeah. I'm talking to yourself. That's called magic. That's what this whole game is all about. Magic and witches. We still don't know for sure that it's reached Father's ears. No, it definitely has. Everyone but Nissan claimed that Father was dead, and none of us believed in Father's good health. It's already over. Father will make an announcement. Nissan will become the successor, and he'll say we aren't even qualified to wear the one wing. Oh, Nei-san, get a hold of yourself. Rosa-san, I wonder if Maria really received that umbrella from father. Question number 1. Huh? What do you mean? Wie ist dein Duschkori? Dine. I can't remember that one. Like 2 years ago, huh? Well, you're in a group chat with native German as well. I went to German too and didn't know the language enough to be of any use. But yeah, I'm actually gonna correct that and pick it back up again. But yeah, German and Russian, and no, he left. But yeah, at least we're a worldly people group over here. All sorts of people from all over the world, which is pretty cool, honestly. It still boggles my mind that the world is meeting right here at this place. Maria-chan might have seen father. However, we haven't seen him. Maria-chan only claims to have seen him. What are you saying? Are you saying Maria's lying? Calm down, Rosa. Maria-chan didn't necessarily lie. Still, she's an innocent kid, right? For example, if Genji-san came up to her and said something like, I was told by your grandfather to hand this to you, Maria-sama, then, even if Maria-chan hadn't met Dad, she still might say that she got an umbrella from him, right? That's right. That trick could work. But what was it Maria-chan said? Grandfather came and handed me the umbrella. Yes, that's what she said. She clearly said that she received an umbrella directly from grandfather. Directly, huh? Then we're stuck. Give me a second to chat. Frostklein something. Schwartz. Frostklein Schwartz. Schwartz is from Spaceballs. Not to make fun of it, but they often say that bad thinking is no better than sleeping. If you think about it a bit, all of this is about the umbrella is a trivial problem. Why is that? Couldn't Maria-chan have been bribed by Nissan to lie and say something that made it seem like father was in good health? There is no evidence that father actually handed the umbrella to her. Regardless of whom Maria-chan received the umbrella from, assuming she was even given an umbrella in the first place, father will appear very soon. Once father's in front of us, the problem with the umbrella will become completely trivial. Y'all. In other words, this is not the time to gossip about the umbrella issue. Well, they are speaking Japanese in the background here. That is the voice. And one of the things that helps me is having it in the background. Something, not necessarily listening to it, but just being exposed to it. It helps out a bit. Chinese, I'm not going to touch. That one is a bit too much for me, personally. And China, so. But that's personal. But yeah, Japanese. Maybe we can start a language learning pick a day and we all just cumulatively practice learning a language or something. I don't know. Just an idea. You always have a choice in life. You always have a choice. It may not be clean or easy, but you always have a choice of some sort. What do you mean this isn't the time? I see. I got it. This is probably what Kiri-san's saying. Father is supposed to come here very soon, but the chance still remains that he'll get mad again and won't show up, right? I see. That's true. Maybe Nissan just said father was going to appear at random in a desperate bid to buy time against our investigation. Father really is dead already, and Nissan is still lying and saying he's healthy. In short, if father appears, then no schemes will be effective. There's no need to even think about that case. There's no need to even think about that case. We're fish on the chopping board. We'd have no choice but to leave fate to the heavens and negotiate directly with father. That means we'd have no choice but to let him clobber us with his fist, then prostrate ourselves and beg for money. Oh, really? Alright, yeah, you don't need to say as... You only need to say as much as you want. That's... You don't even have to say that, even. But yeah, that's a bit more troublesome. But on the other hand, if father doesn't appear, then our primary strategy isn't hampered in the least. I see. In short, no matter which way it goes, there's absolutely no need to get flustered now. That's it. If father shows up, we just have to carry out the normal family conference. If he doesn't, we just have to keep on investigating Krauss-san. We can't let him talk his way out of it. Likely says father's mood has suddenly gotten worse. It seems what we really should be trying to figure out is what scheme Nissan is going to try and trick us with. The way he just doesn't know how to give up is something I know better than anyone. It's been a while then. It's been 17 years for me since I left Phoenix. It's been a while since for some of my old folks. I've been down there a couple times, but it's been a while for me too. If father is well, we'll prostrate ourselves and beg for money. If it's a farce of Krauss-san's, then we'll continue our ugly sibling fight. Logical choices. Sounds like this year's family conference is going to be just wonderful. Well, Japanese or German are like any other language because they are any other language. Yeah, German is very similar to English. It's, in some senses, mechanically simpler, but still different enough to toss you. But yeah, no, I'm learning it, and hell, the book I'm reading talks about it's a sister language to English, which is kind of neat. Yeah, they went to a bit of history in the book I was reading last night, which is cool. Yep. So, bad thinking is no better than sleeping, huh? It's almost 2200. Did we press, Haneke? Rudolph and the rest looked at Krauss. He was sitting down firmly, and looked like he was awaiting Kinzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell if he really was composed, or if he was scheming about how to tie together his lie. Right, that is tie. Dear, calm yourself. We won't get anywhere by making a fuss after all this. Let's leave it to Genji-san. It's almost 10, isn't it? That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open, and it was the time that the Ushirima family head needed to appear. Lots of fingers of fours are for counting. Japanese reading is hard to learn. Japanese speaking, less so. It's different. Yeah, you can learn any language if you practice it, which I need to get back into the habit of. I potentially, but I'd have to actually actively work at learning it, not just listening to it. But one of the things that they always talk about is when you're trying to learn another language, The best thing you can do is surround yourself with it and just expose yourself to it and pick it up subconsciously. You don't learn the language, but you pick up what sounds right and what sounds wrong. Right then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. There were multiple sets. Natsuhi raised her head, relieved. But because of the sound of a knock, her expression was filled with disappointment. Because Kinzo probably wouldn't have knocked. Please excuse us. I finished closing up the mansion for the night. It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the powerful Goda, it was rare for Kumasawa with her old body to be forced to work this late. Of course, Kraus also seemed to know that. Indeed. Good work. My apologies for making you work at such a time, Kumasawa-san. Oh, it's nothing. I may not look it, but staying up late is still one of my specialties. Spanish, I do not know Spanish. I was exposed to it, but I never picked it up. Latin roots, huh? Yeah, Latin. Tango dance and such. Salsa, that's it. Romance languages. There you go. If we're going that route, we have to include French into it, right? French is weird. My sister picked up French, and it's weird. Wouldn't it be okay to at least let Kumasawa leave without being an observer? It really will be difficult on her body, I imagine. The order was to gather all of the servants as well. I cannot disobey. Tonight's family conference was clearly different from normal. On a normal year, no one was allowed to attend except family members. Oh! To have the servants present for such a thing was unthinkable. The book I was reading was talking about the history of the separation of English and German, and apparently the biggest difference between English and German was that the French conquered England for a bit, and then messed up the language, and then we got back to German, and they were too different because the French messed everything up. Cool. They do make a nice audience, don't they? I do like that aspect. I can actually have them shown and displayed, and not just off in a cage, off camera. Case. Well, same thing, I guess. But Italian. That's a spicy meatball. That's all I know of Italian. Enters good place up. Yeah, I figured as much. Well, if he does, we don't know for sure quite yet. But this year was different. All of the servants were told to attend. Of course, they were not allowed to talk. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was happening that needed to be observed by 5 servants? Even Kraus didn't know. That's a sneaky move. I don't look it, but I'm good at staying up late. If you stuff yourself with mackerel too, Kraus-sama, you'll be more manly at night. Mackerel is awesome, apparently. I see you're still in high spirits. I'm sure you'll be working with such high spirits until you're 100. Madame, forgive my arrogance, but I have prepared a light snack. I can serve it at any time, so feel free to order it. Thank you. You really are considerate. Please offer refills of coffee to the others. Certainly. After nodding, Goda took the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. It was a single set, and it was light. Even before the knock, they could imagine who it was. Excuse me. I've taken the children to the guest house. Good work. Tonight is a special evening. Make sure you stay alert. Yes. Certainly, madame. Genji had gone with Kanon to meet Kinzo. There was still no sign of their return. The hand of the clock passed 22 slightly. Is that 10? Once sure of that, Eva spoke to Kraus. Nii-san, it's time. Are you still not going to start the family conference? The arrival of the guest of honor has been delayed. Wait a short while. How long? Sorry, but time's up. I won't have you saying Father hasn't quite shown up yet over and over until dawn. How could I make a promise about the time Father shows up? Why are you in such a rush? Why not drink some tea and calm down for now? Aniki, we're gathered here for a family conference, not a farce. We'll wait 30 more minutes. But if that doesn't work, you'll let us break into the study, okay? Break into... Such an action would be quite lacking in respect for the head. Oh, right. Our apologies. We'll be good for 30 more minutes. Oh. I look forward to seeing if you can keep that smile up 30 minutes from now. So, you honestly believe that Father is dead? I have no desire to discuss that now. We can wait until Father comes here. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down, Nii-san. The Ushiromiya headship will be passed on to the proper person in the proper manner. No matter what you may scheme, you cannot resist. Of course, the same goes for me. What are you trying to say? And after bragging all these years about being the successor yourself, I'll turn your own words back on you. I have no desire to discuss that now. All that matters is for Father to come here and proclaim it with his own mouth. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down. Right? Kraus casually turned Eva's words back on her. Of course, that added oil to Eva's anger, but it didn't ignite. Because, in that instant, the sound of a very loud knock rang out. Both Genji and Kanon were usually very reserved when they knocked. They wouldn't hit the door with such a violent strength. It was like a judge's gavel slamming down in a call for silence. So, everyone went quiet. The door opened slightly, and Genji showed himself. Then he spoke with a serious tone, different from his usual one. It wasn't the tone he used when carrying out his duties. It was the tone he used when speaking for Kinzo himself. So just by hearing Genji speak like that, the siblings were struck with a sudden tension. Take your seats, everyone. At those words, the dining hall was wrapped in total silence, and everyone hurriedly returned to their designated seats. It was as though students who had been bustling around just before homeroom had suddenly returned to their seats when the teacher came. And it might even have looked humorous. But there was no way anyone would joke about it. Everyone sat in order, and Shannon, Goda, and Kumasawa stood up straight in a row by the wall. The head of the glorious Ushiromiya family and Lord of Rokkenjima, the island that sparkles gold, Lord Ushiromiya Kinzo, has arrived. Of the double doors that led to the dining hall, Genji opened the right door from the inside, and Kanon opened the left door from the outside. And welcomed by a respectful bow from those two, majestically fluttering his cape, Kinzo appeared. Kinzo's gait had a dignified weight to it, and it was hard to believe that he had reportedly been at the end of his life. However, we are at the end of the stream, so that's gonna be that. We are. I exist. You cannot deny me. But that causes problems for any theory we come up with. This has every adult in the room, every servant in the room, and Kinzo in the room. The only exception is the guest house with the kids. That's problematic. But anyway, oh yeah. One thing, the thing I wanted to show you. All right, this came in just the other day. I think like Saturday or so, and it is recognition of initiation. This recognizes that Corey Martin has satisfactorily completed the requirements of initiation, the 36-hour intensive and first phase of education in the 8 elements, and is hereby granted to continue a course of study in this approach. Rachel Bryce. This is my certification from my trip to Portland. And it's pretty cool. I wasn't quite expecting that. It was a random out of the blue notification. But there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. As you can see here, I have an audience behind me. The dolls and the... I noticed that the camera's a little off. I have the dolls beside me. When I move over there, I just have a flat wall at the moment. So, I couldn't figure out what to do with down below and such. 8 elements? Yeah, belly dance. I am officially a belly dancer. Well, officially a certified belly dancer. I've been an official one for a while. Yes, I know belly dance. I can do it. But if you guys can figure out how to like have them displayed on the back, I'm gonna have like that back wall as kind of a communal thing. We all work together to figure stuff out or pose things and whatnot. Can't quite figure out how to have them displayed back there without just having a desk or table or something. I'm gonna figure it out, but that's one of the things I gotta work on for when I get that all set up. Anywho, that'll be it for today. Kenzo has arrived, and I'm going to flee in terror. Not really, but anyway, have a fun one, guys. And I gotta get back to you on the animal stuff. There's a couple others. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Yep, and we'll find out what Kenzo has to say. The fact that he can causes problems. Anyway, see y'all.